Hi, welcome back to Captivating Makeup. I'm your host, Emma, and today I wanted to kind of do a little, maybe not throwback, but I want to talk about some of the palettes I've played with in the past that I've tried a few more times and wanted to give you an update on them. Specifically ones right now that I have loved. And so I got a few palettes here. Ooh, forgot one. That I've tried a few times, and I have just decided that I do love them, that I do recommend them, and that these are some of my favorite palettes I've played with. You are going to see a common theme here as I go through them, so be prepared for that. But like, subscribe, comment, whatever you can afford, and if you don't like my videos, I'll see you on the way out. Bye. Alright, so I wanted to start first with the one that is on my eyelids today. As you can see, I got a cute little blue purple pastel moment going on. And that is from the Oden's Eye Spring Dragon palette from collaborated with Judy. And this I have played with a few times. I have done a few looks with this and I am in love. It is a pastel palette. As you can see, if you need a refresher, these are what the colors look like. And as you see, I've dug into quite a few of them. Some of my favorite shades I have played with specifically is Dew, Hua, Petal, and Blossom. And I'll show you quick swatches of those. So there's Dew, Hua, Petal, and Blossom. And they're just these beautiful, like, shimmery shades. So Dew does not have a real base to it. It's all kind of just shimmer with a clear base. And then I have been loving the mattes on this for sure. They're just smooth, they work well, they're pigmented. The shimmers are definitely something I have seen, not so much from Oden's Eye to be quite honest, but it kind of reminds me of Asian Beauty, where it doesn't have like a thick base to it. Some of them do have a thick base, like something that the glitter kind of shines with, but a lot of these don't have like a real base to them. They're clear, and I like that about the shimmer. Like, it is so like not iridescent, but it's ethereal on the eyes. As you can see, this shade that I'm wearing, it is Plum. It's their purple shimmer shade. Does not have a base to it, and this is just the glitter you are seeing in the shade. And I definitely like this palette. I would like to play with a few other colors I have not played with, but I've played with most of them. I think the only two I haven't played with is Moss and Long. So Moss is this green color up here, and Long is this like beigey shimmer. But other than that, I've played with everything else, and I think it's a great spring palette if you're looking for... Oh, I haven't played with Seedling. It's that yellow color. I think this is a great pastel palette if you're looking to play with color, but you want a couple neutrals scattered in there. I think this is a great palette. And like I said, it kind of reminds me of Asian Beauty, some of the shimmers, which I personally appreciate and love because it does give this ethereal glow to your eyes, and it's just so pretty. So definitely recommend Oden's Eye Judy palette. I'm thrilled. Like, I think in the video I talked about that I had the other version of it. I think this is such a great difference from her first palette, but still has the same great quality from her first palette. So that is my first recommendation. Thank you, Oden's Eye and Judy. They did not give this to me. I'm thanking them for such an awesome palette. All right, so my second palette. So this one is going to be a little bit of a surprise because I haven't been playing with it on camera, but you have seen it on my face on camera. And that is the Viseart Petite Fours Isolde. I butchered that, but this is what it looks like. Just some very neutral palette, very beigey, brown, neutral colors. Nothing super like fancy about these colors, but the reason they're on here is because of the formula. I think this is a great palette if you are looking for something very neutral, something very easy to put on, something that is going to blend but not blend away. You need an everyday palette. I like this quad. It's very simple, and I think a lot of people want something simple, especially for their workday, and then they want something fun like maybe the Oden's Eye palette for the weekends or after work. But this is just a great everyday palette. It's a great quad. I don't see anybody having any problems with the formula. This is the first time I've tried Viseart's formula. Now, the only issue I had with this was when I looked at the pictures when it first came out, the pictures didn't look quite like what I got. I thought the pictures looked like they had a little bit of a pink hue to them, but I'm still very impressed. I'm still very happy with it. Like, I'm not mad that it's not pinkier in hue, but I think if you just need something simple and you're looking for a quad, I think Viseart is that girl at this point. I know Viseart's been around for a while, but I've just never tried Viseart. So for my first time playing with Viseart, I am very impressed with the eyeshadow formula. My next one is not going to be any surprise. This is the Lamination Cosmetics Pretty in Pastels. And this is what she looks like. Oh, she makes me so happy. I have weirdly been playing with everything but the pinks at this point, but I've played with some of the shimmers. I have played with some of the mattes. I've played with the darker mattes, and I like the pastels in this. The pastels are beautiful, wonderful. The shimmers give an ethereal glow. They're very pastel. Great for a spring moment. Like, this is definitely a spring palette. Now, I will warn you, the darker shades. The darker shades will darken the look. I did a look in this where I used, I believe it was Labyrinth right here. I used Soulful up here. And then I used this Restful shade down here. And it was looking very pastel, very like grassy almost. And when I used the deeper tone, it kind of turned it more to Slytherin green. Which, don't get me wrong, I liked how it looked. I liked the deepness and the darkness and the edginess of it. But it definitely was not what I first imagined I was going to be doing with this palette. At least for that day. But the formula is good. It's pigmented enough that your pastels are going to show up. The shimmers are ethereal. Like I said, this is such a great spring palette because it gives you that spring fairy look. So does the Judy one, but the shimmers in them just give such an ethereal look. And I like that they don't have a heavy base, so they do look like speckled glitter on your eyes. And I think that just looks so pretty and special and just fairy-like. I feel like a fairy when I wear these colors. And that makes me feel so happy. So I definitely would recommend this one. I think it is a limited edition. So I would definitely snatch it up if you can. It is from Australia, so my American girlies and anyone who is not living in Australia, you will have to pay shipping for it. But I think this was such a good palette that if you have the money to pay for shipping, I would definitely recommend, because this has been a fun palette to play with. Like I said, those deeper colors are going to give you a different look than maybe you were anticipating on getting. But not a bad look. It's just be careful. It will darken your look, I think, a lot more, and it won't look as pastel. Doesn't mean it doesn't make a great look. It just means be wary of that as you go through your look. All right, so this one, Blend Bunny Cosmetics, the Sugar and Grunge palette. This is what it looks like. These are the shades. And this is just such a grungy, beautiful moment. You've seen me play with this a couple times, but I really have to give it to these shades in here. I think they are just, like, it's right on theme. Everything is right on theme with this. The pigments are smooth. They go well on wherever you're trying to go. With this palette, I have definitely made some fun looks. Like, for example, right here with Drew and Runaway and a little bit of flannel. Oh, they make such a beautiful, like, flannel, like your red and black flannel. It makes such a perfect version of that on your eyelids. And I've heard some reviews where people don't like the shimmers as much. I think the shimmers are great. I like how the shimmers looked on my eyes. And overall, I just loved the formula of this. I would love to play with it some more because it does just, it creates such fun looks and it creates colorful, grungy looks. Like, I feel like when you think about the 90s, it's grungy, but it's all like gray, brown, black grungy. This is if you want a grungy look, but you want to use color. Because don't get me wrong, I love the Huda Beauty Grunge palette. I love some of the darker palettes people have come out with. But this one, I feel like just encapsulates the 90s, is grungy enough, but you don't have to stick to that color palette. You can branch out into other colors, and that is why I love this so much. All right, and then my final palette. So this palette is not an eyeshadow palette. It's a face palette. So this is the Celestial Lights palette from Fantasy Cosmetica. It comes in 3 shades, Dancing Lights, Whirlwind, and Dark Star, which is like this peachy golden shade, this pink blue shade, and this purple gold shade. And this came out when the Sorcerer palette came out, and a lot of people were saying that this would be scary to put as a highlighter, and everyone was like, this should have been an eyeshadow palette. This should not have been a highlighter palette. I disagree. I think this definitely can be a highlighter palette. Is it going to be bold? Yes. It is going to show up on your cheek. It is going to be blinding. But I have not had a problem blending it out into my skin to the point where I feel like it doesn't look like a stripe of color on my face. I feel like it does melt, the formula does melt down, so it does go on the skin. I'm not wearing it today. I'm just looking at my highlighter. But I think the formula goes great on the skin. You can buff it out so it does mix, but it is a blinding highlighter. So if you don't like blinding highlighters, maybe this isn't the highlighter palette for you. But if you love a blinding highlighter, this is going to be it. Now, I have only been able to play with Whirlwind and Dancing Lights, these two, because they're the shades that go best with my skin. Dark Star, I feel like, is definitely for the deeper skin girlies out there. I definitely would say that the Dancing Lights is for light skin, for fair to light. Whirlwind is definitely medium, but you can definitely make it work on the lighter shades. But I feel skin tones. But I think you could also make Whirlwind and Dark Star work for deeper complexions. So I feel like it's very versatile. It's definitely a fun palette. It is not a neutral Nelly girl, to say the least. Then again, I do not play with a lot of neutral Nelly. Well, I do play with some neutral Nellies, but Recently, I've not been into neutral Nellies, and I've been getting back into colorful highlighters, those blinding colorful highlighters, and Celestial Lights has given me the opportunity to do that again. So thank you, Celestial Lights. I love her. I think she's pretty. Is she not stunning? And those were my favorite palettes I have played with so far this year. I am still trying out some others. There were a few that I have tried on camera, that you have seen me try on camera, that I have just not played with enough to be fully okay with sharing my opinions yet, because I want to give them as many trials as I can before I give my final opinion. There's a couple that I'm not loving, and I'll have a video out for that too. But I did want to try out some of the more that are in my trying stack. Let's see if I can talk. I wanted to try them out a couple more times before I give any final verdicts on them. But watch out. The bad palettes are coming, and we will definitely talk about them. Which ones I have not been liking. And if you love them, if you don't love them, it's fine. We all have different opinions and we all have different experiences with these items. So please feel free to talk about it. Maybe I'm using it wrong. Maybe it just isn't for me, and that's okay. And maybe it isn't for you, and that is also okay. Oh, I did, before we go, I did want to mention that since I was staring at my highlighter this whole video, I did want to share the highlighter I was using. And so it's from Charlotte Tilbury. It's the Pillow Talk Multi Glow in Romance Light. So it is the lighter shade. It's got 4 colors in one. So it's got this white shade, this gold shade, this pink shade, and this kind of purpley shade. I mixed them all together. Like, I just swirled them all together and put them on today. And I think it gives just a beautiful, like, blinding highlighter. Like, I am just, I'm in love. Just, like, look at that. Look at that. Teresa's dead. Thank you for the recommendation. I freaking love it. I'm glad they brought it back, and I'm glad I picked it up, because honestly, this was I had a bad day at work purchase, because I knew I was debating buying it, but then I had a really bad day at work, and then I was like, oh, now I'm really buying it, because this is going to make me happy to play with online or in general. And so I ended up buying it, and I love the packaging. Like, look at all the glitter in the front. Like, it's just, it's so aesthetic. Just, I love it. Oh, I also wanted to let y'all know I am trying out the Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray from e.l.f. It has one of the most fine mists I've ever seen in my life. Holy crap. Like I can't tell if you can see, but it is just like I'm clicking the button and like I barely feel anything on my face. Just nothing. It has an interesting smell though. Definitely not fragranced, but definitely has an interesting smell. But I did want to let y'all know, because I had been staring at myself, living, breathing, eating. I'm gonna stop now, because obviously that is super cringy. I am too old for this. So thank y'all for watching. I really appreciate. Comment down below some of your favorite palettes you've been trying this year, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.